Hello and welcome to the third tutorial in this series of creating this Lego man, this one. And today we're going to apply materials to him and create a studio lighting behind him in order for him to be rendered correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do now is fix a couple of things in the modeling, just little things. Like, as you can see, the feet here are not sharp like a knife in the 90 degrees. It has a little bit of chamfer. So I'm going to add these chamfer parts to the legs, to these crotch area, and to this box down here. Everything else is chamfered from the modeling before. So first thing, I'm going to chamfer the crotch. I'm going to isolate selected, and I'm going to convert to editable poly. Choose all the edges, go to front, Alt, choose the edges in the center. This deselects them, and I am left only with our circle here and circle here. Now I'm going to chamfer it. This is way too much, 0.1. Let's unisolate it with this button here and see how it looks in the viewport. 0.05 is fine. 3 times is good. Now if I deselect this, as you can see, it's a little bit chamfered. I need to do the same thing for the legs. Now I don't need this background blueprints anymore, so I'm going to delete them. And I'm going to choose this leg here, and let's isolate it. Let's choose all the edges and go to the left or front and deselect the center edges. So now I need to deselect this one. Alt click, deselects, and well, let's leave everything else as is. Now if I chamfer it, 0.05, 3 times. Now we have a problem with the smoothing groups here. So let's try applying it. Let's see how it looks, and let's try applying a smooth modifier to it without a smooth. Or no, that doesn't work, so let's just select all the polygons and go to the smoothing groups here, smoothing groups, and clear all, so it will not be smooth at all. Now as you can see, we have our chamfer here and we have our chamfer here, but this circle form here is not smooth at all. So I need to choose all the polygons in the circle. I'm going to go to the front, and I'm going to choose all the polygons in the circle only, like so, and I'm going to apply a smoothing group 1 to it. Now when I look at the leg, you can see there's still chamfer and this one is smoothed out, so that's fine. There's also a problem here, as I can see. So let's Control Z back before I did the chamfer a couple of times. Here we go. And the problem here is when I chamfer it, this point here doesn't go anywhere, so the program doesn't know how to chamfer it correctly. What I need to do to fix this is choose the vertices, choose cut, and let's cut a line from here to here. Now when I select the edges, I'm going to deselect this one. This point goes here, so when I chamfer it, it knows where to go and doesn't cause a lot of trouble. Let's see how it looks on the other side. Alright, now another thing, I don't want this to be chamfered, so Alt click, 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 this one, this one, and this one. So the only thing I want to be chamfered is this one also now. These lines here. Let's chamfer them. Okay, this is better. Thinking this is fine, so let's apply it and do the same thing we did before. Select all the polygons, clear all the smoothing groups in the editable poly, go to the front viewport, select only the circle and apply a smoothing group to it. As you can see, this looks much better. We have a chamfer here and we have a smooth leg here. Now it is chamfered. We have like a bumpiness here, but that can be fixed with smoothing groups. So let's do that. I'm going to go to isolate. I'm going to select in the front viewport all of this, deselect with Alt this one, and now I'm left with this side here. I'm going to deselect this polygon and I'm left only with this circle here. Same thing on the other side, so I'm going to Control select this and Alt deselect this. Now again Alt deselect this and I'm going to apply smoothing groups 2 to this. So now we have a smoothing group on this circle and a other smoothing group on this chamfer here. This is fine. Alright, let's unhide it and I'm going to add a hole here like in the head for the Lego parts to fit in each other. As you can see in this image here, his leg has a circle on the bottom. And a couple of holes here I can see, so we're going to create them too. First thing, I'm going to create a circle here, add a button. I'm going to go to the left viewport. The circle needs to be a Lego circle, so this is this size of the hole in the head, the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the head, I'm going to edit poly and select this polygon here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift drag it down, and when prompted element or object, I want to convert it to an object. So now our head form stays the same. I didn't touch it because I copied this polygon here and I created a new polygon down here in order to chamfer the leg. So the gizmo of this polygon is way up here because it's the same gizmo as the head, the move gizmo. What I'm going to do to center it to this polygon is I'm going to go to hierarchy, effect pivot only, and center to object. Now our gizmo, our moving gizmo is centered. Now I'm going to add a shell modifier to it, like so. I'm going to go to the left viewport, place it in the leg. You can see in our photo it's in the center of the leg, so I'm going to put it here. The height that goes inside the leg, it's not very important. Let's do it something like this, because we can always change it, so that's no problem. Go to the front viewport, move it to the left, to the center of the leg, like so, and I'm going to chamfer the leg. I'm going to select the leg, compound objects, pro boolean, sorry, I was saying chamfer. What I meant, I'm going to boolean the leg, which means I'm going to cut this circle from this leg here. Same thing we did with the torso. So I'm going to take this leg, pro boolean, start picking, and pick the circle. Now we have our leg with a hole and the chamfers on the sides, and it looks fine. Great. Next thing, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this leg here because I don't want to go through all this process again. So I'm going to shift drag it to the side, make a copy, and mirror it in the z-axis. Alright, so mirror on the z-axis. I'm going to move it exactly in place of the second leg, and I'm going to select the leg, the left leg that was here before. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to call it left leg. Alright, so now we have two legs chamfered. This is fine. I forgot about these holes here, but you can add them if you want using the boolean like we did with the hole down here. I'm not going to do that because I don't think all Lego people have these holes. I don't see them here, so I'm going to leave it like so. And the last thing I'm going to chamfer is this torso. I'm going to isolate it. I'm going to add a editable poly to it. I'm going to select all the edges, and I'm going to go to the left viewport and to the top viewport, deselect these edges here. So Alt selection, Alt select this. Alright, because I don't want to chamfer this part here. I want to chamfer only these lines, only the silhouette of the torso. Alright, so this is pretty chamfered. Let's chamfer it. This is too much, obviously. 0.1, 0.05, and 3 times. Now we have a problem here of some kind, so I'm going to cancel this operation and let's see what the problem is. Oh, okay, so there's a spot here, a dot, a vertex, which is not supposed to be here, so I'm going to delete it. And there's one here too. This is from the chamfer we did in the first tutorial. Let's go inside here. Yes, there is one here too. I'm going to rotate our model and go here. No, everything's fine. I think everything is fine. Now we're going to go back to edge and let's try chamfering it again. Now let's see if it's rounded. This is fine, and the other side is fine also. No, we have a problem here. So let's see what the problem here is. Okay, we have another vertex here. I'm going to delete it. Again, chamfer. This time it's fine. Let's unhide everything. Okay, cool. Now we have a problem with the smoothing group here. It looks strange. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all the polygons, and as we did before, I'm going to clear the smoothing groups. And this is fine. I don't need smoothing groups unless I'm really close by, and we're not going to make a render so close. So the model is ready. Next thing I'm going to do is add materials to it. So first material is going to be this yellow hands and face. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to check that I'm in vray. I'm in default scanline, so I'm going to go to render setup, all the way down here, assign renderer, and I'm going to assign the vray advanced 3. This is my version. You can use any version of vray. It's practically the same. So now I'm going to create a new material. I'm going to call it yellow plastic. And I'm going to give it this yellow color here. Now the way I'm going to do it is by using a texture I already downloaded. I'm going to apply it to the diffuse bitmap. I'm going to use a texture I already downloaded. Alright. This one is the texture of the face. It's going to be included in the comment section below. So I'm going to choose it as a texture for the face. And now I can sample the color itself. The way I'm going to do it is I can go into the texture, into the material in the diffuse slot. I'm going to go to the view image, and if I right click on any part of the image, I can see the red, green and blue values of this color. So this is 240, 163 and 4. I'm going to drag and create another material, clear this, and let's see again. The number is 240, 163, 4. 240, 163 and 4. This is the color of this texture of the face. So now I have a yellow plastic material and another material which is called, let's call it face plastic. Now these are standard materials. I need to change them to vray. So I'm going to right click and cut the texture from the diffuse slot, and I'm going to apply a vray standard material, vray material. Now I'm going to right click, paste this face in our diffuse slot in a vray material. And same thing here, I'm going to copy the yellow color, change this to vray material, and paste the color here. Now I can apply by dragging on the face the yellow material of the face. Alright, next thing I want to do is add the face itself here at the center. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to go back to editable poly. I'm going to select the polygons in the front of the face. I'm going to go to the front, just select everything, go to the left, and Alt deselect till here. So now I have only the front of the face, the place where the smiley face is. Now I'm going to apply this material, face plastic, to this part, these polygons only. Inside material, and I'm sorry, okay, let's go back for a second. Alright, I want to convert this to editable poly. Sometimes when I don't convert and there's a stack and I apply two materials to a form, it creates problems. Now there are a couple of ways to fix this, but we're not going to go into it in this tutorial. We're just going to convert this to editable poly, and I'm going to select the polygons again. It remembers the polygons I selected. I'm going to apply this face material to it. So now we have all yellow head and this material here. It's gray because I didn't press the show shaded material in viewport. Once I press this, I can see there's a little black spot here, and that's because the UVW map of this material is not aligned correctly. So I'm going to fix this. I'm going to apply UVW map. I'm going to apply it in the y-axis like so. So the map is on this plane. Alright, we have our smiley face, and now we just have to make it wider. So I'm going to up the width, something like so. This is fine. And we have our face. You can play around with the width, but I think it's fine. Maybe a little bit smaller, the whole thing. So in order to make it smaller, I'm going to click on the UVW map until it becomes blue, and now I can control the gizmo of the map. So I'm going to make the whole map a little bit smaller, like so. Alright, now we have our face. Maybe take it just a little bit down, like so, and make it a little bit shorter, like so. Alright, now we can see that this material is shiny. You have a shiny spot here, and you can see light sources on the whole plastic man. So I'm going to add reflection to it. Let's give it a value of, let's say, you know what, let's make it Fresnel reflection, which, if you followed my previous tutorials on the building a room, you know that this is a reflection that works on an angle. So if you look straight on the form, it will reflect the least, and if you look at a 90-degree angle like so, it will reflect the most. This is how reflections usually work in nature, so this is fine. I'm going to give it a full reflection of 255, 255 and 255, and let's see a background on this image. As you can see, it reflects everything. Now in the image you can see that the reflection is blurred. It's not, you can't actually see what's behind the camera. So I'm going to blur the reflection by reflection glossiness. I'm going to take it down to 0.0585. Now as you can see, it's blurred out, so 85 is fine. Now you have dots here. It's very dotty, the image, and that's because the subdivision is only 8, so I'm going to take it up to 32, and now it's much better. When we will render the final image, we will see if the reflections are correct. We're doing it just for the first set of values here before we're going to render, so this is fine for now. I'm going to create the same reflections in this form here, so I'm going to copy, paste, and the values 0.85 and 32. This is fine. Now another thing, I want to control the Fresnel reflection value. So I'm going to unclick this L, and now I have a Fresnel IOR. This is the angle in which the reflection will be harder or softer. So the lower this number is, the lower the reflection will be. So let's leave it at 1.6 and change it when we will render the final image. Same thing here, leave it at 1.6. This is fine. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to add a plastic material, this red one here. Oh, the hands, right. So I'm going to apply this yellow material to the hands too. I'm going to change the arm itself into a red material in a second. Now I'm going to copy, drag, place it here, and call this red plastic. Now I need to take the value, exact value of this color here. So I'm going to take the bitmap of this image, which is in the first tutorial, this one. I'm going to view image, and I'm going to sample the number. So 16342, 16342, 16342. This is the number of the red color, which is fine. Now I'm going to right click and clear this. I don't need the texture anymore, and I'm going to apply it to the shirt. The pants are blue, so it needs to be the shirt and the arms. Let's apply, so here, let's apply a red material to the arms. So I'm going to open the group, I'm going to select this one, and again I'm going to convert to editable poly, because if I don't and I select only the arm and not this bottom of the arm, the hand itself, it will create problems. I need to create a material with two sets of materials inside, and the easier path, on my opinion, is just to convert it to editable poly once you're finished with the arm in the modeling part. And now you can just select in the front viewport or the left viewport all the polygons you want to color red and deselect the ones you don't. Now I'm going to apply the red color to them, like so. Alright, and let's close the group. This is fine. Same thing for the other side, so I'm going to open. I'm going to select this one, convert to editable poly, and select in the left. Let's go to the right. All the polygons I want to turn red and deselect the ones I don't, and color them red. And close the group. Alright, so now we have red shirt, yellow hands and face, and all that's left is these blue jeans here. So I'm going to do a third material. I'm going to call it blue plastic, and I'm going to give it a value of these blue. So I'm going to select the bitmap of this image again. I'm going to sample the color number with a right click on the mouse, 960,148. 960,148. 960,148. So this is the color I sampled. Now I can right click and clear the bitmap itself and apply this material to our torso, our leg, other leg, and crotch. Alright, so now our Lego figure is colored and it's ready to go into a scene and be rendered out. The last thing I want to show you in this tutorial, the next one I will create a studio scene in order for this little guy to go into, and I'm going to render him very photorealistically. The last thing I want to do in this tutorial is align the gizmos so that when I rotate the hand it will rotate correctly on this axis, and the legs also. Well, the legs pretty much work correctly. It has a little problem here, but it's almost perfect. So we're going to align the gizmos and the head also, so it can rotate. First thing, the head, it's in the center, so when you rotate it doesn't move anywhere, so that's perfect. You don't need to move the gizmo of the head. If the head would move in this direction also, we would have to make changes, but it doesn't, so we don't really need to move the head. We need to move the arms. So let's take this arm, go to the left viewport. I'm going to effect pivot only, and I'm going to place the pivot in the place where I want the arm to rotate. So it's about here. And now when I rotate the arm, rotates in place. If I look at the front viewport, effect pivot only, I'm going to move it to the body. See in the left. Let's rotate this. This is fine for now. The leg, left viewport, it's rotating. Actually, it's rotating perfectly. It's in the center of this circle, which moves inside this torso, so it rotates perfectly. Let's see the other leg. The crotch doesn't need to move, so let's find the other leg. Yeah, also rotates perfectly, so the legs are fine. The other hand is left, so I'm going to go to the right viewport. I'm going to effect pivot and move the pivot in place, so it's about here. You can always play with it if it's not perfect and make it perfect when you are animating. I'm going to place it here, and now if I rotate the arm, it's fine. Now you see the arm goes inside the body here. That's because we're moving it only on the y-axis, and it needs to go like in an angle here. We see in the front viewport you can rotate it, but it rotates like so. So we need to rotate it in an angle. Now if I choose the local function, I can change the orientation of the gizmo. So I'm going to make it like in an angle, like so. And now I can rotate the arm on an angle, which is much better. If we can see, in a second, just rotate it like so. Alright, so this little guy is colored and he's textured with the face and everything. The gizmos are right, so you can move the legs as you wish. And in the next tutorial that I will upload very soon, I'm going to make these two tutorials back to back. I'm going to show you how to create a studio lighting in order to render this little guy in a very photorealistic manner. Thank you and goodbye.